Okay,
Good
you're live.
afternoon. All right, good afternoon. Hopefully everyone is joining us. Sorry, we were a little bit late today. We had Central Time, Eastern Time, it's just funny. Okay, glad, hopefully you guys are signing on to see this because this is going to be pretty awesome. Right now we're in our houses and we got professionals giving out all them kinds of information for just free, right? So this is like the time to get every piece of information you need. Everybody's going live. We're going live. And today we're going to be talking about hair loss. We have Aishah Bilal-Ali. She is owner of Hairadox, owner of Rogaine. She's a trichologist. She's one of the founding stylists at Fabulocs. She was with us for a long time, branched out, and is doing all kinds of fantastic things. One of the things that she's doing right now is helping people understand hair loss. It's way more than just product usage. It's way more than just picking up a bottle at the grocery store that says, grow your hair back. I mean, we have people buying products, doing tricks, putting fruits and vegetables on their heads, weaves, braids, tinctures, herbs, transplants, rice milk, all kinds of stuff. And we want to give you some real information that is going to help you. It's detailed, but if you do specific things, at least you can have a good start and really understand what's going on. So Aishah, thank you so much for joining us today. How are things out there in the wonderful Illinois?
Hey, everybody. It's good to see everybody here, everybody. Thanks for inviting me, Nimat. I wanted to thank Kendra Ward for allowing us to understand this technology so we could actually be together today instead of on Facebook Singular Live. So there's some awesome people out there, like you said, giving out this free information. I mean, I just asked her outright, like, what do you use? And she told me, and Matt and I were able to get it running within 30 minutes. So I really appreciate those professionals out there that actually can share information. They don't feel intimidated by it, et cetera. So Nimat sent me a few questions that were absolutely incredible questions. But I just want everybody to be reminded that hair loss it's not an easy subject, and it's not no simple answers to hair loss. So yeah, whenever you're ready to get started, just let me know how you want to proceed. Yeah.
Okay, so what I did was I went through my inbox. I reflected on all the questions that we get. And it's interesting because since even Fabulocs has been doing these videos, we get questions about hair loss. And I have to tell people that I need a lot more details in order to even begin to give them the information that they need. And I don't think people realize that it's a lot that goes into understanding what's wrong and how to approach what needs to be done. It's not just going to be something that someone just hands you and it's like, ta-da! So I wanted to ask some of the most frequently asked questions, starting with this one. What is the first thing I should do when I notice thinness or hair loss? What's the very first thing that someone should do? They look in the mirror, they see that, wow, my hair is not sitting like it used to. You can see my scalp. What would you suggest?
Well, the first thing I think is to understand what you're looking at, Nimat, is so for example, thinning versus balding versus breakage, because they tell us different stories, right? Some I may be able to help you with as a cosmetologist, but others maybe I need to send you to a dermatologist, right? If you get a bald spot overnight, then that's something very different than I just got braids and I lost my hairline, right? So look at what you have first. Is it thinning, meaning I'm losing density? Like my hair used to be so full and now it's not, is it breakage? Okay, there's a patch that's really short as compared to the rest of my hair, right? Or is it baldness like this, where it's like your skin, baldness, right? So first understand what you're looking at. And then remember, our hair has texture. So we can lose a lot of hair before we realize that we've even thinned out. So you got to be looking at your hair frequently and paying attention, but we switch styles a lot. So sometimes it's hard to notice. So breakage is really noticeable sooner, right? Because it's broken off. It's shorter than another area, right? Whereas thinning, it takes a little longer sometimes to notice. But then baldness is more immediate. Hey, I woke up with this patch in my head. What's going on? Right? So I would suggest looking for changes. Most of us don't look at the back of our hair particularly, or at the top of our hair. They expect the stylist to do it, but you are responsible for that. So you should look at it often, just like you should look at your body to see if you're getting moles or rashes or anything like that. Look for changes in your volume. Look for changes in your texture. Feel your hair on a regular basis to see if it's changing texture. Look for broken areas, any type of spots. Like sometimes we have different types of hair loss where one spot will be receding or something like that. Burning, itching, bumps, redness, right? Is my scalp tender in an area?
So you're saying, okay, so a person looks in the mirror, they notice they have hair loss. They need to think about, is it just that it's broken? Is there a bald spot? Do they consider talking to their stylist first? Do they consider talking to a dermatologist first? Do they go to their primary care physician? What would the order be?
I think first you have to gather information on what you see and what's going on, because you don't want to waste your time or anyone's time when you got to keep going back and forth, right? How many times do you text a client 35 times just to get the information, right? So be able to tell them, when did this start happening? What is actually happening? And sometimes it's more than one thing, right? So I might have a patch and a bald spot. They might be two different things going on with my hair. Let them know what type of styles you've been wearing, what kind of hair care you do. If you're not shampooing your hair but once every 8 weeks, that's going to be probably a part of the solution, is doing that more often, right? So we have to gather that information, but it comes from the client. I would say take pictures, because a lot of times we can work really well to get you started from pictures. Take the front hairline, picture of the front hairline, if that's where your issue is, picture of to open your hair up at the top and take a picture straight down in there so we can see. If it's thinning up there, we can see your scalp, right? Mm-hmm. If it's thinning, we'll be able to see some scalp and things like that. Also, left side, right side, and straight from the back as well. Pull your hair up in the back and take a picture of the back so we can see that hairline and what's going on in there. So have some information to share. Sorry, guys. Have some information to share. And then, so you start with yourself. And then, since you see your stylist often, a lot of times they can be your first responder. Sometimes they'll see it before you do, because we're looking harder, right?
If you can say something, that's one of the pet peeves I have, is you got a stylist that you're paying every couple of weeks. They should notice those changes and they should be telling you. But one thing I know is you got to take care of yourself too. You have to notice that, depending on what kind of stylist you have.
But you're trained, right? But you're trained to see things like that. You've taken it upon yourself to get additional training to spot scalp disorders and hair loss patterns. That's really not a big thing in cosmetology. Like, you don't go to cosmetology school and learn trichology. Right. You don't get to always. They got 1 or 2 pages on that in the cosmetology book. Well, it really goes into trichology.
Can you tell me? I forgot to ask you. And hello, Tony, Shirley, and Gwendolyn. I forgot to ask you to tell people what trichology is, because I forgot. People don't even know what it is.
It's a study of the hair in the scalp, basically. We specialize that's all we work on, is the hair in the scalp, right? Versus, say, your dermatologist that includes all the skin on your body, your nails, right? And some surgical type things as well, right? So cosmetology is, yes, it's hair and scalp, but they don't particularly focus on hair loss and scalp disorders, right? It's more like the styling and the care of the hair. Right? They don't really focus on how your follicles are doing, and stuff like that. How's your scalp? Are you maintaining a good scalp flora, right? What's the rest of your body doing, which is a big part of hair loss. So trichology focus specialty on hair loss and scalp disorders.
Okay.
So I would say also recommendations, after you take your pictures too, Another thing you can try on your own is just to change your hair habits. Sometimes the habits we have with our hair are the culprits. Like sometimes you get braids. If you get braids or a weave or tracks or something like that, and you lose some hair from that, don't get that again. But a lot of people, they love those styles and they'll continue in those styles, even though they know they're losing their hair by it, right? And sometimes the hair loss gets so bad, right, that the follicles just don't want to operate anymore. And then it's really, really hard to get that hair back.
What about people with locks? Because some of the things that happens that I notice is that I'll send a client to a dermatologist, and the first thing they do will say that it's your locks. And I personally don't appreciate that. I had locks for 13 years, you know what I mean? And I know that's not what causes hair loss, so can you speak to that a little bit, hair loss and locks?
Yeah, I can. It's like on one hand, Nimat, like if we compare ourselves to you, being a person who has good hair habits and good knowledge of our hair and locks, it's easy for us not to have that hair loss associated with it. But what about those people who have stylists who want to retwist their locks every 2 weeks, or they're putting these heavy gels and things in their hair, or they're elaborate pinups for 8 weeks and things of that nature. So yeah, locks can cause hair loss if they're not properly maintained. Mm-hmm. If you're getting interlocking too tight and too often, if you're retwisting too tight and too often, if you have these really tight, imagine getting retwist and then a pinup as well, and then leaving it in for an extended amount of time. So these are the things that can lead to hair loss versus the lock itself. Now, if your locks are down to your, waistline or whatever, some of that weight might cause some tension and pulling as well. So although it's not the lock causing it, it's the care and the maintenance and the styling, and you're sitting on your locks,
I've seen people with the long locks and they're getting those pinups that sit back here like that. And I'm always thinking that can't be good for your hairline, because all of that is pulling back when you have those really long, thick locks like that. But I'm going to go to the next question that we're asked frequently. How do I know if it's too late to help my hair grow back? And we get this all the time. People will come in, especially as hair care providers, they'll come to us thinking that this is the beginning of getting my hair back healthy, but they don't realize that they may be already past certain points where we can't help them. So what can you tell us what would you say to your clients about, is it too late? And how do you approach it? Because they're already emotional, you know what I mean? So you're dealing with different things.
I think again, I have to make sure that people understand what they're talking about. It's different if you just have some breakage from something you did and you can correct that. But people with severe hair loss, certain types of scarring alopecias and different things like that, genetic, the androgenic alopecia. These things are coming from their internal body systems, even though they're approaching it from an external standpoint. So in the trichology field, we never give up. We're not going to give up until you give up, period. That's pretty much, I rarely if ever tell somebody just cut off all your hair, just forget about it, grab a wig and go on your way. No, I'm going to fight until you stop fighting, but the person has to make that choice. So if you know in your heart you've tried every good thing and you really did a good job and stuck to it, you can't get supplements and take them this week and not take them next week. You can't get a scalp treatment and do it this week and not do it next week. You can't take Rogaine and do it for 1 month and then stop and expect results, right? You really have to have a good plan, and you got to really stick to it.
But wait. You said, okay, so you said you're not going to give up unless they give up. So I just want to understand it, because it sounds like, with hair loss, you're saying that even a person who's bald, if they came to you, a bald person came to a trichologist, right? And said, I want to grow my hair back. Well, is there really a likeliness that it will grow back?
Not 100%. We don't guarantee anything. But a person who wants to try, we try to help them. But, again, I think it goes down to the person. And one of the questions you're going to ask them is, what is your expectation? Right? If a person comes in with severe scarring, what's the likelihood that they would get 100% of their hair back? It's probably not 100%, right? It's not rare. It's rarely 100%. So, but is that their expectation? Maybe they just want to see what they can get, right? We've had people who had areas that they thought were, they didn't have success before, but we were able to help them get enough hair going there that they could, feel more confident, right? Even if it's not at 100%, maybe they can't go back into their lock style. Maybe now they have to wear the loose hair, natural hair style, right? Mm-hmm. But they have more hair in those areas. Not to mention the rest of the area, the rest of the hair on the head thrives when you're on a good plan as well. So not only do you want to work on the area of hair loss, but you want to work on the areas of hair that you already have to make sure that that's strong and healthy as well. So even your dermatologist and doctor can't guarantee you're going to get hair. But if you go in and you want to try, we're going to try. So, but look, Nimat, so if you shave your head, if you had alopecia areata and your whole hair was bald, you still have to take care of your scalp, right?
Right.
So we can help with that as well. So yes, we don't guarantee anything, and everyone's expectations are very different. But if you catch your hair loss early, your thinning early, your breakage early, yes, you have good possibility to get a lot of hair back.
Well, I've had clients come in and they have used something in the past that has helped their hair grow back, and then they're coming in and saying, hey, I'm having a problem with hair loss. I know it can grow back because I grew it back before, but I'm having a hard time getting it to grow back. So the conversation I end up having to have with them is that, the whole thing of what's different now, what's going on now, all of these things that you need to find out. But I think it can be frustrating for the customer because it's overwhelming. And, I don't think that people are really having real conversations about, can you grow your hair back really? Okay, what do you really need to do? So I've heard you talk about, even with me, trying to learn from you more about advanced hair loss conditions and the reality of being able to help customers and what my role is in it. But some of the things that you're saying is, one, it's more on the customer than it is on you as the stylist. And two, that the internal piece is just as important as the external piece. So is there some sort of, I guess, compressed way or easy way to tell a person, this is what you need to eat, this is what you need to do to your hair, that feels realistic to the person, you know what I mean? Because it can be overwhelming, you know what I mean? That's what I'm finding with my clients that have more advanced hair loss condition. They say they're going to do it in the beginning, and they'll start doing everything we're supposed to do. Then little by little, they start coming away from it. And then they're like, well, this is a lot. I do see improvement, but, sometimes I want to eat this and sometimes I want to do that. And then it's almost like I feel like we're back at square one with the conversation again.
That's exactly how it goes with a lot of clients. Unfortunately, look, most people don't realize that their hair is connected to their blood supply. That's why when you have high blood pressure, autoimmune disorders, leaky gut, all of these body issues, your hair suffers. When your hormones change, your hair changes, right? When you change medication, your hair can change. Why? Because your body is attached. It's one. So you could get I had a client, I'll give you this story. I had a client with locks. She's a hair loss client. She got so much hair back that she could come out of her scarves and things and wear her hair out. She had surgery, and the anesthesia took that hair back, so she had to really start over again. So your hormones could change, as we age, it changes. Like me, I've been struggling with my hormones, just balancing my hormones now. At the age that I'm at, I see my hormones fluctuating. How can I tell? My hair and my nails immediately. So it's no one-time thing, and it's no one person cookie cutter thing. I can't give you the same thing as the person next to you at the same time. It may not work for that person, right? So it's a thing of keeping up with your own body and your body health. However, there are some general good things we can do. We know we're not supposed to be eating saturated fats and fried foods and sugary drinks and
People don't just like one you said about hair and nails. Even though we know that, like clients, they don't really. It's almost like they don't believe that. Like they forget so quickly that okay, my hair is breaking, and they don't even connect it to something that they're doing. It's almost like hair is separate from the body, and that's as a stylist, that's something that we really need to get people to understand that it is connected, and you do have to start looking at those things. But there really is a huge disconnect from that your hair is attached to your body, and it matters what's going on with your body. I think that people are that's just foreign to people. They don't think about
this is what I tell some of my clients. I tell them, I said, your hair is just the red flag telling you something deeper is going on. So as soon as you see a fluctuation in your hair, even your nails, your skin will tell you sometime, right? It's a signal your body is giving you in advance. Something's not right inside. Now, I'm not talking about a person who just got braids and they know that, and they, saying, I got braids and my hair thinned out in the front. Okay, I know that was due to the braids. We're not even talking about that person. I'm talking about that person that slow thinning you were talking about, or that patch that broke off. You know what I'm saying? Look at this whole COVID-19 thing. People are going through all kinds of stressors, and they're having hair problems because stress is your body's gonna respond a certain way.
Yeah.
Right. And so it can come out your hair.
Yeah, I have a couple of clients that, this is the great thing about having a hairstylist, guys. I have a couple of clients that get these round patches of just sudden hair loss whenever they're stressed out. I've been checking in with my clients just to remind them, you go bald when you start tripping, so try to calm down, so that's very important. You have to excuse me. Sometimes when we talk about hair, I get serious, man, and I get the face, you know what I'm saying? So hello, Connie and Rose. Thanks for joining us. Aishah is in Illinois. Fabulocs is here in DMV. Aishah is a trichologist. She's a hair loss specialist. And we're answering questions about hair loss, and you'll be able to reach out to her if you need to. I'm going to move to the next frequently asked question. Does Rogaine and Minoxidil products really work for hair loss?
Well, Rogaine is a brand name. Minoxidil is the active ingredient. So you can go get Minoxidil generic at Walmart in their own brand, Walmart brand or something. So it's an active ingredient. Now, so there's different types of hair loss. Alopecia means hair loss. There's different types of hair loss. So you don't want to just go get something like this just on your own, self-diagnosing. It's not for all kinds of hair loss. However, a lot of people use it because it does work on blood flow to the scalp, right? So a lot of people use it. One of the biggest things about it is it works for some people, but doesn't work for everyone. So you'd have to try it to see if you're one of those people that will work for. I kind of get a 50-50 mix with African-American women, mostly with genetic hair loss, right? The other thing is, it's water-based. So if you got a blow dry style or you're wearing a relaxer or something like that, now you're supposed to use this every day, which a lot of African-American women will not put any water-based products in their hair every day. So you're not going to get the effectiveness if you're not shampooing your scalp often, right? You can't put Rogaine on your hair for 2 weeks, 3 weeks straight and not expect to be itching, right? It's going to irritate your scalp. So, and it's going to be a little bit drying. So you have to moisturize as well. So getting your clients to shampoo more often, to apply these things every day, they've been difficult for our community.
Yeah, that's what I'm finding too, is that you go and you'll find that clients are very emotional about the hair loss, right? Emotional about it. Then when you start explaining things to them, about it, the first thing that they think about is, am I going to do this based on my schedule? So that becomes more important than anything else that you said. So even though we're giving a lot of information that would definitely help, honestly, the minute they leave the door, if it doesn't coincide with their schedule and washing their hair or the week that they're supposed to get their hair done, they just fall off. You know what I mean? And maybe it's because, I don't know, some of this is there's so many wigs. Now you can get a fake baby hair stretch and all this stuff. But I mean, still, there's nothing like having healthy hair of your own. You know what I mean? So,
but see, the point is, it's not about your hair at all. It's about what your body's doing. Mm-hmm. It's telling you that something's going on in your body. And I think that's the bigger issue for us to remember, is that this is a signal that something else is going on. Mm-hmm. Right. So if you can fix what's going on in that body, the hair is going to come with you for the most part, right? The other thing is, I mean, I have hundreds of clients, and those clients that are consistent with their internal and external plans have success, right? They have some type of success. But people who cheat and they come on and off, like if you use Rogaine and you use it for 3 months and you start seeing your hair come in, right? And then you say, okay, my hair's growing back. I'm gonna go get them box braids I wanted.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna stop using the Rogaine, right? I don't want to pay for that no more. Well, your hair's gonna go back to maybe even worse.
Okay, worse. You just said, I don't want to pay for that anymore. So what is a realistic amount of months to do something to see results?
3 to 6.
Okay, so 3 to 6 months, right?
Yeah.
So I normally will start off by telling my clients 3 months. And the reason I do that is because if I say 6 months, it's automatically, what is going on with this? So
it's psychological.
Even the 3 months is a stretch for them, right? And it's fine when they're with you because you're their stylist. They know you're going to look at it. They know you're going to help. But we really want people to understand that at home, I mean, you're with yourself for those 3 weeks until you get to your stylist. And you really have to be dedicated. I mean, it has to be that important because it's not just a simple fix. So that takes us to our next question, which is, do products that say they can regrow hair really work? And we see all these products on the market, super thick hair, wash your hair with this shampoo, watch the thickness, lion's mane come. Like, what do you feel is reasonable in regards to that?
Well, my general rule of thumb is, if it sounds too good to be true, it is, period. And based on what we've already said, just dealing with hair loss from external sources is never going to get you where you need to go. You got to do internal work. You got to go get blood work from your doctor to find out your deficiencies. You have to check that gut. You have to change your eating. There's no snake oil in the world that's going to correct you eating poor nutrition and not getting what you need. There's no salve, ointment, scalp drops, Rogaine that's going to do that for you when you don't address what the body is doing, to your hair. So can they work as a part of your routine, right? But if it sounds your hair grows a 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch a month. So how are you going to get 3 inches next month? That sounds too good to be true. It is too good. And your hair never did that. Even at your best, I have people who have been world-class athletes. Their hair ain't growing in 3 inches in a month. So people at the top of their nutrition game, right? Your hair, really doesn't do that.
What are they seeing though? Because, we know that products can help because Fabulocs products have all kind of wonderful ingredients in there. And I always tell people it definitely will help. But, what should be expected? You know what I'm saying? So I think that's the key thing. What should be expected? You're at the grocery store, you see Super Growth 2028, grow your hair to your kneecaps, and you buy it and you notice that, hey, my hair is doing something. It's looking good. You know what I mean? What is a good expectation? Where should that just end?
I think there's some gaps in the industry. I think, for example, one of the things, we have a hard time finding good dermatologists, for one, that can really tell us about our hair. It's all this kind of cookie cutter stuff going on. So the first thing I say, we'll go back to what we talked about first, is what are you looking for? And then who do you talk to in what succession? catch it early, talk to your stylist, and then maybe you will refer yourself to your doctor for blood work or a dermatologist for further scrutiny, right? But, on whenever you go online or you're shopping for a product, don't even look at the front of the bottle, first of all. Look at the ingredients first. And don't buy anything just off for hair loss. Don't just buy anything. Do your homework, come up with your internal and external plan. What do I really need for what I have? If you don't have a diagnosis, what are you buying? Are you going to buy Rogaine just because someone said so? Are you going to go get you some rice water or whatever because someone said so? No, let's find out why we're losing our hair and then really get to the bottom of that and do what's necessary to correct that, right? If I'm having a kidney or liver problem, rice water not helping me with that. Those things you just mentioned from the store are not going to help me with that. So remember too, marketing is a beast. It can be very deceptive. When you guys go online, make sure the picture you're looking, when they show you before and after picture, make sure it's the same person in the picture, right? The same head. Make sure that they're showing you the same area, right? Make sure Nimat. No, seriously, Nimat. Look, Nimat. If I show you this area right here, and then I pull the hair down over it and show it to you again, it's going to look like I gained some hair.
Right.
So there's some very deceptive marketing going on, comb overs and stuff, very claims, science and science. We have studied these sciences for a long time. So no, you're not going to get 3 inches of growth in that next month unless you just got abnormal, which is very rare for someone to have that abnormal growth like that, right?
You go on YouTube, like some of it is people follow people on YouTube that have really great growing hair. And so they'll watch them go through the transition of their hair being short, and they'll go on, every couple of weeks, and you're watching it and it makes you want to buy the product. But we know that that's their hair growth rate. That's not your hair growth rate. You know what I mean?
But you also see that same person is shampooing their hair 3 or 4 times a week. You're not doing that. That person's scalp is probably wonderfully pH balanced. That person's scalp and hair probably never are unmoisturized. You see what I'm saying? So they're keeping the hair that they're growing from the hair habits. You can't just come to the salon every 3, 5, 8, 12 weeks and expect to have your healthiest hair. Now, some people, they just have resilient hair, but they can do anything to their hair. They don't put no oil in it. They don't do nothing. They don't do anything. And their hair does fine. That's not the majority of us.
That is them. Yeah.
That's not the majority of us, though.
But, we purchase things through our dreams, so you want that long hair, you're going to buy the stuff. And
So say you do go and buy something. Say you go and buy an oil that you like and you want to try. Just know that alone, the oil is not going to help you. Make it a part of that routine we talked about, right? Make it a part of your whole hair plan. Know when you're supposed to use oil,
Absolutely.
Right? Know that oil alone is not a moisturizer. Know that if you put a scalp treatment on a dirty scalp, your scalp's not going to really get that treatment. Yeah. So if you haven't shampooed your hair in 4 weeks, Rogaine's not getting to your scalp. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But that has to be explained. So going to explaining, how can your stylist, how can a person's stylist really help? What should they be hearing from their stylist? Honestly, and this is a pet peeve of mine. I feel like stylists should always do great consultations. And so I'm asking you, okay, because I know you're a professionalist and a perfectionist. What should the stylist be talking to the customer about in terms of hair loss?
I think first of all that when we say good, we can't assume that all stylists are good stylists, for one. Right. So when you say good consultation, you have to really define that for stylists. So when I do a consultation, like a hair loss consultation is like 6 pages long. I'm asking you about all kind of stuff, your family history, your hair history, your habits, your lifestyle, whether you have permanent color, when was your last relaxer? Do you apply heat? Do you do deep conditioners? what's going on with your body, what medications you're taking. So the one thing is for them to get training, more training. Can they identify dandruff versus seborrheic dermatitis? It's different.
Right.
You know, telling a person to go oil their scalp and they have seborrheic dermatitis, that's like putting oil and fire together.
Yeah.
Right? So getting the training, that's the big thing that's lacking in the industry. That's why trichology is really big right now, is because it's helping to fill that gap. Notify the clients of any changes as soon as you see them. Don't just say, oh, we're going to do an updo and cover this here thing up. There's some stylists don't even talk about the spot they see. They just cover it up. They add hair to it or do a style that covers it so nobody.
They're listening to the customer who's telling them to cover it up, and that may not be the best thing for the hair. But I was listening to you in terms of the product usage, you know, putting oil on a seborrheic dermatitis condition, or even using a shampoo that's recommended for, you know, dry scalp, but it dries the scalp out. You know, there's some things that are not adding up in terms of, you know, what's on the bottle, what you're supposed to be using it for, and then having the information to use it in the right order. That is the thing. Having the information to use products in the right order. You know,
and not just in the right order. So, for example, I know you mentioned there's some different, you know, hair loss systems out there. They give you even your dermatologist give you a shampoo, a conditioner to use, some ointment. You have to know the frequency, right? Yeah. And you have to know the order, right? And you got to read the label. How are you going to use a dandruff shampoo to help you with dandruff if you're just going to rinse it right out? Put it in, rinse it right out. No, it needs to sit there to treat the scalp a little bit. You got to read. Some of them are 5 to 20 minutes. You got to read it, right? When you have highly textured hair, you got to really know your hair well enough to say, okay, I'm using something that's drying my hair out. Say Rogaine, right? So how do I moisturize the hair so that I can use Rogaine? Right? Deep conditioners, and, you know, having a style that I can maybe spray some water in and put my hair butter or something on. Like, you really got to know your hair. So you can't just leave it to your stylist, but the stylist has to be the experts, you know, because you need to be able to go to someone, right? So a stylist should have a certain level of expertise before they reach the trichology stage or the dermatology stage. Right? As a cosmetologist, you're like the next responder from the client. Yeah. So refer a client to where you say, you know what? You're coming every 4 weeks. There's no way we're going to get this flaking under control like this. Right. So go to the dermatologist and see if they can help you. Right. You know, like, you really got to refer them.
You know, the thing is that, you know, in cosmetology school, there are a lot of things missing, and this is one of them. So, you know, having the stylist refer to another professional when they see something would be a very basic thing you can do to help your customer if you don't know the details of the differences with the scalp and things that you may not know. And then working with the dermatologist. So earlier you were talking about the lack of dermatologists that are well educated with black hair, which leads to the next question. Do dermatologists know how to diagnose black hair conditions? Personally, I find it very difficult to find a dermatologist that's really trying to help our customers. I do. It's not easy.
Well, the first thing I would say about that is that there are no black hair conditions, no such thing, but there are hair conditions that affect mostly African-American women, like that CCCA scarring alopecia, which they almost solely see in African-American women, right? So remember that a dermatologist focuses on your hair. I'm talking about the skin on your whole body, the hair, the nails, and cosmetic stuff, right? Mm-hmm. You can go to your dermatologist and get skin tags removed. You know, they do all kind of cosmetic surgeries now. So they're not all the time focused on hair, right? So that's why sometimes you might get a cookie cutter answer, or that same ketoconazole shampoo, you know, or, you know, it's real cookie cutter. They may not spend a lot of time with you. You ain't bringing in that much money to their practice, you know. So, you know, if you get a dermatologist, I would say try to get one from referral from somebody you know that has had success. Go back and make sure that you So I wrote a list of things you should look for in your dermatologist. One was someone who listens.
Mm-hmm.
If you come in, they don't even want to hear what's wrong. They just give you the prescription. That's not the person for you. If they don't ask you any questions about your health and your hair habits, that's not the person for you. Make sure that they actually look at and go in your hair and look. I'm gonna see you 10 feet from across the room and be able to tell you what's going on with your hair.
But that's what I take all the time.
I know, but you know what? You can also request certain things too. You can request a biopsy. You can request something, especially if you've done some due diligence and you go in there kind of knowing, then you can request these things. But those are telltale signs if a person's really going to focus on your hair. They're red flags right off the break. You suggest that they take before pictures. If I'm going to stay with you as a dermatologist for 3 to 6 months, like you told me, what are you going to compare this to in 6 months so I can see some progress, right? You take your own pictures, but they should take pictures as well. They should offer you biopsy or a dermoscope. They should look at your hair and scalp through a scope, right? Offer some blood work through your primary care physician.
Are you talking a basic dermatologist a visit, or is this something that you're talking about needs to happen over time? Because we know that's not what's happening at a dermatologist visit a lot of time.
Well, yeah, but trichologists, that's all they do. So that's why a lot of people start with trichologists and then they incorporate the dermatologist and the primary care doctors. But if it's something that's going on urgent, you go to the doctor, because even a trichologist that's not a doctor. Now, there's trichologists that are medical doctors, like in the UK. And then there are, people like myself who I'm not a medical doctor, I'm a trichologist. So I can't prescribe you a medication. I can recommend things. I can tell you what I see and what I think, but I can't diagnose you having alopecia areata. I can say, this is what I see. This is the signs that I see. This is the pattern that I see. This is what we do. I want you to go get blood work, from your primary care physician. You might need to go to a dermatologist for injections, things that I cannot do for you.
So let me ask you a question then, based on what you said, because a lot of clients, when they're trying to describe something that's a little technical with their hair to their dermatologist, it's difficult. They leave a lot of things out. You're hoping that they're going to ask the questions you ask. So how is that in terms of the trichologist? Because I'm not a trichologist. What is that relationship with the trichologist and the dermatologist that the customer can have them talking about it, perhaps, because that would be a much better conversation than the customer. You know what I'm saying?
Sometimes it's an abrasive conversation, even between the cosmetologist and the trichologist, because no one wants to be told how to do their job, right? Yeah. So for example, I have clients who. I see Autumn is online there. I have clients who would take my products to their stylist and say, no, I don't want you to use this in my hair. Absolutely. Same as if you went to a dermatologist and you bring in that medicated shampoo. If you have a prescription for that shampoo, yes, I'll use it in the salon. But if it's just something you bringing in, if you bring me your jar of tea leaves and honey, no, we ain't doing that. So the conversations between cosmetologists and trichologists, or cosmetologists and dermatologists, et cetera, we're still trying to work those relationships out. But you know what? Real professionals can work together for those clients, real professionals. But we haven't gotten there like that across the board.
It's right? Sad. It's real sad. I mean, even, I would love to have more conversations like I'm having with you, but what I find is there's a lot of competition. I want you to use this product because it's mine, or no, well, if she's on, then my fans might go there, and that's something that I just do not like, and I think it's stupid. And this only hurts the client because you don't have the trichologist talking to the cosmetologist or the dermatologist, and it's just stupid to me. It's annoying.
Yeah. One thing I do tell clients is that if you don't see any results within 3 to 6 months, you really should make some changes, whether it's with your stylist, your trichologist, or your dermatologist, because you should see something going on with your body and something going on with your hair. Absolutely. So when people work with me, I try to, just like you said, I try to get them to commit to 3 or 4 months, just to try these things, do them really well. And then if you don't have any success, let's tweak or move you to some higher form of professional help, right?
Yeah.
So as a professional, you have to know, one, that there's no product that works for everybody, not mine, not yours. But for the general pool of people, our products work. But there's gonna be those people who have all these multiple things going on. I mean, I've seen clients come in and have 3 and 4 different types of things going on with their body. They got lupus, they got, high blood pressure, they got, boom, boom, boom. And it's just like, okay, even I may not be equipped to do all that. Now you bring your blood work and I start seeing all that stuff and I say, I know we got to work together with your doctors. I can't just tell you to go get some supplements when your doctor has you on 15 different things, and stuff. We need to work together, but we don't for a lot of different reasons. But real professionals are not intimidated. I believe too, is how we approach each other when we do it as well. And sharing the success with those people who are part of that person's team, right? So there's a lot going on in the industry that needs to be fixed. I would also say that if you find someone who's doing well, don't skip around. That's another problem in our community, is skipping around to hairstylists and thinking that all of them are going to do the same with your hair. If you have a stylist that's keeping your hair healthy, they talk to you about your hair, they educate you about your hair. When COVID-19 hit, almost at least 90% of my clients already had been trained in an emergency style at home. Why? Because I always prepare my clients like that. So all I had to do was make sure they had what they needed at home. Mm-hmm. But you got stylists who you are a slave to them. You can't even do anything with your hair at home on your own.
Well, some clients don't want to do their hair at all.
Yeah, but you should at least be able to shampoo your hair and do some type of decent look at home in an emergency. If your stylist gets sick or goes out on maternity leave or just something happens where you got to go skip an appointment, it doesn't mean you should skip shampooing your hair. You know what I mean?
Foreign language to some people. I went on maternity leave and I had clients that did not wash their hair. I was like, you gotta wash it. It's like, no, I'm not doing it. But that's just how it is. Okay, we're gonna go to the next question, which is, what medications and health conditions can cause hair loss? A lot of African American women have underlying health conditions or on some sort of medication or thyroid issues, things like that. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yep. So remember I said that your hair in the growing stage, 90% of your hair is in the growing stage at all times. So your hair doesn't stop growing, right? It might be slower at some time than others, but it doesn't stop. And it's connected to your blood supply. So every unhealthy condition in your body is going to affect your hair in some way or another. It might not be right away, but it could be over time, right? So every unhealthy condition, if you're not getting an annual physical with blood work, you really are not concerned about your hair, because the blood work is one of the key components to saying what the body is doing. So there's so many to name that it's really, you might as well just include any unhealthy condition, right? If you have anything going on with your body, your hair is going to be affected. So I would also tell people, like, when you get your medication, read the side effects. You know those 20 pages that the CVS guy gives you when you got to read those. Why? Because sometimes hair loss is right listed on there. Yeah. So when you get a prescription, like some of your birth control and different things like that, it already tells you hair loss is going to be a part of it. So there's no wonder 2 or 3 months later, when your hair starts falling or thinning, you can go right back and tell your doctor, say, you know what? I'm experiencing hair loss 2 months after I start taking this medication. Yeah. Once they adjust if they can adjust it or change your medication 2 or 3 months later, you may see the hair coming back. It could be a self-correcting type of hair loss, right? Yeah. Google, so side effects. So the drug itself might not be causing your hair loss, but it could be something going on with your body, like your hormones changing, right? Also, let's see, nutritional deficiencies, which most of us have, hormonal imbalances, viral infections, yeast, gut problems.
Nutritional deficiency, real quick. So would you say that everybody should be on a supplement to help them with hair loss issues, or some sort of vitamin?
I'm gonna say no, because if you don't get blood work, you don't even know what you need. And so, for example, I've had clients who come with toxic conditions because they have self-medicated, even on herbal supplements. Mm-hmm. Some of those supplements are so concentrated that you can literally die. You could become toxic or die. So we don't want people to go out and start taking iron. Like if you're a person in menopause or you don't have a cycle anymore, stuff, you can't just go taking iron. Your body can't handle it can't expel it.
So you know that when you said, right, that the average person has some sort of nutritional deficiency, right? Everybody believes that, so they buy a regular vitamin that they take every day. Most people that I know of have a regular multivitamin. They haven't necessarily been diagnosed with anything, whether it's hair related or not, right, but they just take this vitamin, right? So now those that don't, you may say, okay, well, you haven't gotten blood work, you know what I'm saying? Take a multivitamin, you know what I mean? But
yeah, that's common.
Overdoer, like you were talking about, they're taking vitamin E, vitamin D, multivitamin, iron pills, all of this stuff, the same way they do with products, right?
Right.
So you're saying that you would tell them to get off of the multivitamin that they're on, then go get blood work, or would you just say, take a multivitamin until you get your blood work done, or what would be the order of that advice?
I would say kind of some of it is true, some of it not. Like, so for example, why all of a sudden did you feel like you need to go take a vitamin or supplement? What triggered that, right? So if you're just talking a daily Centrum low dose for general health, mm-hmm. You've been taking that, doing it since you were a young lady, whatever, for general health. Okay, I'm with that. But when it comes to hair loss, that little bit of vitamin D that's in there is not going to be enough if you have a vitamin D deficiency. But don't just add vitamin D. You got to go to get your blood work done to see if you're truly deficient in D before you start taking more D. Right. And how much. Your doctor can actually prescribe D if you're that deficient, right? So it's better for you to pay attention to the signals in your hair and skin and nails, right? And then work with your doctor to find out what you need versus just taking all this stuff you see. I know people that take 30 pills a day. Your body can't handle that. It just doesn't know it just expels most of it. So you're wasting your money, right? So just really stop and say, why am I doing this? And what do I need? And how do I know what I need? Right. Go get that blood work done. Your blood work is very important. And if you don't get it done, and if you got to read it, don't wait for your doctor to read your blood work to you. They're only going to tell you you're deficient if it falls below the level or above the level. But what if you're on the low end of the scale or the high end of the scale? Then they're going to say you still fell within the range.
But wait, so you're saying doctor, so would you recommend, because I know you can go to your dermatologist, you go to your primary care physician, if you give a person that piece of paper that says all the blood tests that they need to get done in order to determine what they should be taking and doing, what does that look like? Does that look like the dermatologist saying, oh, sure, Miss Jones, I'll go ahead and run these for you and, send you the bill? Or does that look like, oh, well, you know what, Miss Jones, you're going to have to take this over to your primary care physician?
No, you're going to work with your primary care physician in most cases. Most dermatologists, that's not the business that they're in. But so your primary care physician, and they may not give you all the tests like we have on that list of that. Like the VA, when I went to the VA to get mine done recently, she pretty much, did everything. I was new to her, a new client, so she really worked with me because I already told her what was going on with me and the changes I had seen hormonally and stuff. So she went ahead and kind of worked with me, but everyone's doctors won't give them all the tests. But even your basic, some of your basic tests will tell you about your iron, your D, your, certain things like that, So start with what you can get, but do something. Do something, but don't just take random supplements. That's not good. And then over-the-counter supplements, huh?
The Super Grow package. You can get the vitamins, you get the scalp balm, you get the oil. I mean, you've seen those, right? It's just like a Super Grow. You buy this package, and you see the infomercials all the time. So I think what you're saying about hair loss as a trichologist is important, because that is not the correct approach to hair loss. So you can save money and go.
Because what are you treating though? Because you don't know what you're treating. If you have genetic hair loss, it's not going to be the same as treating like a scarring hair loss or if it's just traction from braids. Like, it's different approaches. And then most women have 1 to 3 different types of hair loss at any given time. So I just want people to really understand what they're treating and treat that properly, because it can change. Right. I can treat my traction and get my hair back, and then I start seeing some female pattern baldness. So I gotta change that up and change my products and things. So know really what you're treating. I think another thing missing in the industry is just good guidance. Having that one person to go to, at least to kind of go along with you and say, okay, things are changing. Okay, now we're looking at something different. So let's adjust over here, or go back to your dermatologist. Now we're seeing something different. You got to kind of create your team there, right? And then you might have products that work. Say I have Fabulocs Intense Moisture Therapy as my butter product, but then maybe I need some scalp drops or something for my, genetic alopecia, and maybe I'm on supplements from my trichologist. So it's like you are putting a package together based on yourself. There's no one package for everybody. There's not.
So what other things? So we were talking about the hair conditions and medication. So we know that after having a baby, some women, I experienced it when I had my locks. I had a baby, and all of my hair started falling out in the front. It was traumatic, but I knew that the reason was because my hormones had shifted because of the baby. So I knew it would be very likely to grow back, and it did. But what other conditions? So we have that one. You said blood pressure. What other conditions might cause the hair loss?
So the hair loss you described postpartum after having the baby is a self-correcting hair loss. You know that 3 months after you had the baby, your hair thinned out, but that's self-correcting. You know that it's going to come back in some months, right? Sometimes it takes 18 months. I don't know. How long did yours take to come back? Yeah, but it came back. So as a stylist, your stylist doesn't want to really go in and start putting braids and different things on there. Okay, well, oh girl, I can snatch that. No, you can't do that. Maybe you get some nice silk headbands, or make sure that stays moisturized, and you can use aloe vera and things to keep the hair moisturized. I mean, I'm saying, like, treat the hair and scalp really well in those areas while you're growing it back, right? But don't go in there and be trying to do some cosmetic adding hair and stuff like that. But any unhealthy condition, so high blood pressure and all this, anything, lupus, PCOS, thyroid problems, I mean, you name it, and it can affect your hair, because your hair is connected to your blood supply. So leaky gut, so think about it like this too. If you're going to eat foul stuff, there's no supplements, amount of water, hair products that's going to combat that.
Okay,
so you got to do all this together. You got to do it all. You got to change your lifestyle if you want your hair, if you having hair loss.
So you just mentioned water. One of our Kim, I think it's Kim here. Yeah, she asked about water and how much that matters, but you just kind of answered that question.
Look, I'm going to tell you, you can tell. First of all, do y'all know the formula for how much you're supposed to drink per day? It's half of your body weight in ounces. That's what. I
only need 8 ounces.
You only drink 8 ounces, but you need 108 ounces, right? So, so half your body weight in ounces of water. And I'm not talking about it's Crystal Light and stuff like that. But it makes a big difference. And check it out, Kim. Even if you look at your hair, your skin, if you're dehydrated, your scalp will tell you, in your skin, your nails will be brittle. Your skin's got more wrinkles and things like that. So yeah, your body tells you when you haven't had enough water, and most of us don't get enough water. Mm-hmm. And it affects your hair. Again, it's your body. And think about it like this, guys. It's so not about your hair. It's about your body. It's what do you look, Nimat, how hard does your body have to work when you don't give it water or nutrition? Yeah. It don't have time for your hair. Absolutely. So that's really the message is this is not even about your hair. It's about you and your health. Your hair will come along.
That is the ultimate message right there, that we have to shift the focus of it being about your hair to it being about your body. Yeah.
Because the hair is just a signal. Look, hair, even though we are so caught up on the look, you know, it's a non-essential thing. You can live without hair. Some people do it all, you know, their whole life because their body doesn't produce hair. So it's non-essential. You can live without it. You just don't want to. But if you want your hair, then you really have to look at what your body is doing. Why are you laughing, Nimat?
Because I can't live without my hair. I don't know what you're talking about.
But I'm saying in the scheme of things, right, you could live without hair. And people do it every day. It's more acceptable now than it ever has been in our lifetimes. True. But remember that it's a gift to you. So if you don't treat your body right, you have no right to have your hair. Mm-hmm. Period. It's a gift. It's an extra. It's one of them extra, like this thing is extra for you. It's a gift if you do the work and keep that work up. And the work changes. So even if it's just like if you get a good hair product, Nimat, and it's working real good, but then all of a sudden your hair changes and it ain't working no more. You got to change that, right? The same thing can happen with hair loss. So it's no one thing, no cookie cutter, no easy job. That's why trichology is a whole field in itself. And that's why cosmetologists, that's why it's not included too in cosmetology. However, just a portion, at least identifying in the referral, identify and refer. They should be able to do that for sure.
Well, it's more important than ever because, you know, I mean, a lot of African American women wear styles and use products that cause hair loss. So, you know, the cosmetology books really didn't have that in mind. You know what I mean? So that you don't learn a lot about that when you're in school. So it's important to know a trichologist. You're my sister. I get all the free information I need, so I'm good.
Well, we're not all alike. We're not all alike. For example, you know, I don't know if you know, but all of my clients have moved to holistic protocols. So for the most part, none of my clients use Minoxidil. Period. So there's one group that I'm a part of called Trichologist on a Mission. They have a website and you can look up trichologists to see if there's one in your area. Trichologists with an S on a Mission. That's the same, Nadia, you know her. But we really tried to do things from a holistic standpoint. Why? Because if you have to do this for your lifetime, we want you to try to use natural protocols. Yeah. Minoxidil is pharmaceutical. And you know it's going into your body through your follicle. So we try to use holistic methods, right, as much as possible. And you should try to do the same with your hair care products as well. You know, you guys don't understand that there are hair care products and then there are styling products. Your styling products are not natural products for the most part. It's almost impossible to get that edge gel or that, you know, gel and mousse and all that natural. It's very difficult. So just know there's different things. So Fabulocs has a natural line of hair products. They're all natural, but they can be a part of your hair loss or regaining your hair, that journey. It's just that part. So that's the hair care part. So then you say, okay, where do I get my treatment product part? Or where do I get my internal supplements? Maybe you have a holistic doctor who can do your They even can take your hair and do a hair analysis of minerals. You can mail it in. I mean, come on, you know, it's a whole lot we can do nowadays in 2020 to figure out what our body's doing. They have blood chemistry analysis. You can get your blood work done and send the results in and get a whole analysis of your whole body. You know, $100 or $200, whatever. It's worth it to know more than your doctor's telling you. More than your doctor's telling you.
a lot of times we'll get some information from the doctor, like, maybe they have cancer and they're on a chemo, or maybe, something is wrong and they have a thyroid, and they'll automatically assume that, well, because I have this, my hair is going to fall out. There's no point in me getting blood tests run, going to the dermatologist. It's an immediate give up. So what's reasonable in terms of that?
I think, you're not going to run and get blood tests every month. I'm talking about at least do an annual physical. At least with your annual physical, read your blood work. If you read your blood work and you make adjustments and you see results, that's great. Then you get them the next year. Like your cholesterol. If you have high cholesterol, you should be getting that checked every year, maybe every 6 months, depending on how high it is, right? If you get chemo, it's not guaranteed your hair will fall out. However, the majority of clients, depending on what type of chemo you get, their hair will come out. So then you as a stylist, Nimat, I think the biggest thing is us to be right there with them through that journey, right? Offer to give them scalp treatments, beautiful massages and clay masks, and still can do, conditioning of the scalp. You can even offer to cut their hair down when it's time. If the hair starts growing back, make sure they have a nice care package to treat the scalp and the hair. The hair is going to grow back, again, self-correcting after they finish their treatments, right? But how are you taking care of that scalp while it's growing back, right? What are you going to do when that hair comes back in a whole different texture or color, and they can't even, sometimes it's so straight they can't do nothing with it. So now you might put them in a wash and go style that they never even had before, right? So those things are going to happen. Yeah.
Some might grow back, some may not grow back. And that's just a general.
Yes, but sometimes it also shows that you had hair loss before the chemo. So your hair was looking thick because you had texture. But then after the chemo, you lost your hair, and as it's growing back, you start seeing those spots that were in there that you couldn't see before. Yeah.
Okay. And also, I had a client that had, I was seeing her regularly. She's one of my regular clients. Hair was just absolutely fine. And her very next appointment, she came to me and I said, wow, what has happened to your hair? So we started talking about what was going on. And she said to me, well, I did switch my blood pressure medication, right? So I said, that's probably what it is. I said, did your doctor talk to you about this medication and that it might cause hair loss? She said no, right? So I asked her to go home and check the bottle and see if she saw anything about hair loss. Did she see anything? No. So one of the things that happened was I told her to talk to her doctor about it, because I looked it up online, looked up the ingredients, and it said that it caused hair loss. There were plenty of people that had complained about their hair falling out, but the doctor didn't tell her. So I'm saying, you should go, when you see something, say something, right?
Yeah, but see, if she hadn't had you.
Well, check this out. She went back to the doctor, told him, he gave her a different blood pressure medication, and her hair started coming back just fine. So you have to look out for yourself.
Yeah, I mean, in the end, you are responsible for your hair. You are. Your stylist compliments that. If you come to me every 3 weeks, I cannot be responsible for those 3 weeks. I am responsible for when I see you and what I can try to get your hair to do for those 3 weeks with your input, right? So if you need to have a certain amount of moisture in your hair, you got to be doing that. You're not seeing me every day or every other day to moisturize your hair. If you got to cover your hair, you got to moisturize your hair, so it's a partnership.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And what's funny is that some of my clients bought products for their hair because of the COVID-19. And I was like, why did you go buy products? What am I here for? You know what I mean? So it just shows that there is a disconnect. When we talked about it, they were like, oh, I don't know. I didn't think about it. I went to Regimens, and then I, just picked up this shampoo. Now they know, the moisturizers and things like that we use, they buy those. But I'm talking about anything else. You have a professional person that can tell you what to buy. Then don't do that. Talk to your stylist about things. There is some weird thing that happens when customers don't talk to their stylist about what they're using. Now, some of it could be you want to use something in secret that you know your stylist is going to be like, girl, you need to throw that in the trash, but you want to use it anyway. I don't know.
But Nimat, come on now. Look, but Nimat, you know, we work with hundreds of stylists. A lot of stylists don't talk to or educate their clients. They hide their products like nobody could possibly ever get these products.
Why?
Right? If you no, I know that. No. I know, but look, as a client, if you're, I see Angela Lewis on, hey girl, yeah, like Angela, she gonna call me, she gonna be like, girl, what shampoo should I use? You know, you use what I'm using. Use what I'm using. Let me show you how to get that, or let me send it to you. Because my thing is, it's working for you. And so why would I tell you to go get something else?
Yeah.
You know.
But I think there's a disconnect. They don't think to ask about, like I said, even though they know that what you're using is working for them, if it's something else outside of that, they're not thinking, I'll go to the beauty supply store, let me call Nimat real quick and see, you know, let me call the stylist and just to make sure and see, or calling before. So that's something we want to clean up. If you have a hairstylist that you're paying every appointment, then get your money's worth. Ask those questions because they should be able to answer those questions. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. Even if you're going to change hairstyles. So for example, like, you know, I don't do extensions. I don't do that. So if a client's going on vacation or something, I may refer them to someone, or they'll call me if they're going to do something different. I'm going to go have my hair flat iron. You know, what do I need to think about, or what do I need to do? You know, you should have a stylist that you can actually bounce those things off like that. You should have a stylist that's not intimidated to send you to someone else, you know, for a style that maybe won't damage your hair, but that they don't do. You know what I'm saying? So we got to get out of this whole competitive, I'm the only, you know, up in here, you know, and you got to come to me for everything.
Doing that.
Yeah.
No. Doing that.
No.
So I want to go to our next last question here. Okay, so this is a popular question. Do places like Bosley really work? You know, Bosley is a place where they do hair transplants. Do places like Bosley really work? Is that something that African Americans should even be looking at? What is your take on that in terms of hair loss?
Well, think of it in terms of, you know, Bosley is a brand name. It's a brand, name. It's a brand organization that deals with hair loss. Now, they offer non-surgical options as well as surgical options. So there's two different things. So if you're just taking, say you're taking supplements, you went and got a nice laser cap, you know, you're using a little microneedle or something. Okay, those are non-surgical. But if you want hair transplants or a graft, you know, where they take a graft of your hair and put it in another place, or they take follicles from there and put them, you know, that's surgical. So they have their own network of doctors. So they've been in it a long time, but it's an organization. There are plenty of them like that, or there's a lot of them like that. However, they can work as a part of your routine. For example, if you look at their website, they really do focus on topicals and surgicals, right? They want to sell you some topical products for the most part. Now, they do have a little supplement listed. It's like you got to really read to even find it. Mm-hmm. So you know they're not focusing on the internal part, which is the bigger part. Right. So if you need a one-stop shop for, say, some topical products that you're still going to have to adjust your hair care strategy with, because you know any product that's made for everybody is not made for us. Why? Because it's going to dry our hair out. It's not going to have emollients and oils and moisturizers. Why? Because everyone can't use that. A person with straight, wavy hair can't put all that oils and stuff in there unless they're going to wash them out, right? So whenever you use these packages like that, just know that your hair care strategy has to be adjusted for that. Like Rogaine, you have to adjust.
It's kind of like losing a lot of weight fast, right? If you didn't do the work before to get yourself ready to do the regimen like you're supposed to and keep it off, then you're not going to just suddenly start doing great hair care. After that, I had a client that actually went to Bosley and had the transplant done. She had come to me a few months after she had done, maybe 4 months after. And I was so excited because I had never seen, a transplant, up close and personal where I'm actually getting ready to do your hair. So just to give you the description of what I saw is you could tell, they go into the follicle and they actually put something in there and the hair grows out. But it's so perfect. Like they did like the whole 2 inches going back of her whole entire hairline. But it's so perfect. Like the hairline was perfect. And the little dot was like perfectly placed. But one of the things for me was, I knew she had just had this done, So I was very careful and hesitant. I was trying to tell her, look, I'm not even comfortable styling this. I think you should just let me do a gentle wash. Let's just do a very basic style. And she had just walked in, off the street. She saw Fabulocs, came in. And I said to her, I said, ma'am, I said, you're taking a risk. You're just walking in, you know what I'm saying, to a salon. You don't know us. You haven't researched. You haven't seen or spoken to anyone about a hair transplant. And I told her never to do that again. You just ended up in my hands. So, of course, you're going to be taken care of in the best humanly possible way. But that was luck. Because you know what would have happened? So, so of course, me not really being behind the chair like I used to be. I'm the only one she trusts now to do her hair. But, it was, she was very concerned about every little style that she could get done. She was nervous about who she was going to go to. She was scared to wash her own hair. So there's this whole emotional piece that comes with it afterward. But that was my personal experience with that.
Yeah, but and that's to be expected. You could pay 10 grand or more for that. $10,000 or more sometime, depending on how many areas, how many grafts you get done. A good doctors will give you a natural looking hairline. Like the more you pay, the better, hairline you can really pay for. You see some TV celebrities, you can tell that they're just too perfect, over time, you're going to have some thinning, sometime your natural thinning, and stuff. So sometimes they do it straight across like wigs are, how wigs are. If somebody didn't pluck your wig, and you can tell, but you cannot just go to everybody.
Yeah.
It's just like when we create a hair piece or a prosthetic for you, you can't just go to a random person to get your hair done or whatever. They don't know how to integrate that piece into your hair or whatever. So when you find a good stylist, take care of them, stick with them, call them before you do anything else, for sure. And if something happens to them, maybe you could at least get them to write some notes for your next stylist or something, who's your backup person, like something you can do to stay in the loop with someone who's going to take care of your hair. Because you can go to you can go to a stylist who's going to want to relax that hair or braid it or extend it. Or you can do whatever you want. It's healed, and then, think about like this too, which a lot of people don't know, that you could pay all that money for a hair transplant and those same follicles if you haven't addressed the cause of your hair loss. So say you have an area of scarring and you put those hair transplant in that area where those follicles were not really being nurtured, you could lose those. And I saw on Bosley, I looked them up too, Nimat, and they have like a guarantee where they will retransplant, areas and stuff like that. So again, you have to do your homework before you do that. Try some non-surgical stuff first before you try surgical stuff. When you do give up with the, just the whole topicals that you've tried, maybe you want to research the surgical aspect of it. Wigs are good. I like wigs way better than like weaves and extensions and stuff like that, because you got to get to your scalp every day. If you have hair loss, how you gonna put your drops in every night? If you can't even get to your scalp, you got 10 packs of crochet hair up there. How you get to your scalp? You're not really, it just doesn't work.
Well, one of the things you said that makes a lot of sense is that if you're considering going to get a hair transplant, if you don't know what the root cause was, because you didn't do the work to find out, get the blood work done and all that, you could spend $10,000 and lose that piece of hair because there's an underlying issue. And I think a lot of people may have not even thought about that.
Yeah.
thinking about it. But some of the clients that I have actually talked to about having transplants are the ones that they got a lot of hair, but it's just the hairline has receded, and it's been like that for years or even decades, where they just had no hair here. So you're talking about a small area. You've tried, whatever you could, and it didn't grow back, and it's just a small area. Maybe I would do it if that was.
Yeah, that's if you've done your part. If you've done your part internally, externally, something like that, where it's just more or less, kind of genetically happening, stuff like that, but you've done your part internally, externally, then yes, maybe go that route. But the other thing I see is it's just like when you go on a diet, Nimat, you start losing a couple pounds, then you say, oh, I can afford to eat that cookie now, So when you start getting your hair back, then you feel like you can go get those braids. Or you can put that ponytail up there, but you really can't. You really should not stress that hair out like that once you get the growth back and stuff like that. So a lot of us, we just don't want to sacrifice those styling things to have our hair. We want a snake oil. We want a quick thing. We want one pill. There's no one pill. There's no one oil.
Right. So we need to change the mindset. If you have hair loss, okay? If you have hair loss and it's not something where the hair is just going to come back like you just had a baby or something like that, you have to take the time to speak with a professional to get to the root of what's going on. And that takes getting the blood work done, talking to a trichologist at Fabulocs. If you're a customer at Fabulocs and you're watching this, this is my sister. So automatically when there's an issue, if you contact me and it's beyond what I can do, I don't deal with a whole bunch of hair loss treatments to try to get your hair grow back. If they're advanced like that, I don't do that. So I will contact her. She has regimens and things that she does where you have to do your part at home. She can give you the information and you can work with professionals. So I'll post the information so that people can have it. But Aishah's in Illinois. Again, she's the owner of Hairadox, Rogaine, master's degrees. List is very long. She's one of our founding stylists. So she was on the ground floor when Fabulocs started. So with her expertise, even back then, I was able to, pretty much get my business in check. So I just appreciate having you on and that you're answering all of these questions for our customers because, they're not going to just be able to go get this information by just going to their doctor. They need to understand the intricacies of what's really going on with hair loss. So, I know you have consultation forms and things that people can fill out, but we will post that information for you. Is there anything else you wanted to say, Aishah?
No, I mean, I don't want people to feel like, well, if I don't do a whole regimen, I'm not gonna, just deal with it at all. No, take baby steps. If you're not ready to jump in, fully, at least take some baby steps, drink more water, see what you're eating, go get that blood work done. Send it to me. Contact me. I'll at least go through it for you. If I see anything that kind of catches my eye, hey, at least I can tell you where to go from there. Like just take one or two steps at a time if you can't just really, afford to just jump in with someone. You got to really do just do like a mini consultation with these professionals. If they're not asking you about yourself and, you can't verify some of the stuff they're telling you, like I really use a lot of science stuff. Like, when I say something or give you a recommendation, you should be able to go look at some research documents or something like that. There's a reason I recommend certain supplements, right? There's a reason I'm going to tell you the order. There's a reason I'm going to say how often you should shampoo and what that's going to do. Like if you don't have people talking to you and explaining, they're just not going to really get you through that. You don't want to buy a package of something for $300 and just go home and be lost on your own. That's really not what a provider should be doing, right? So those are the things you should look for. So Nimat, any of the answers that I had, I can also just email you some of the notes that I took for this session. I also emailed Nimat one of the consultation forms that we use. If you want to look at some of the things you should be thinking about, maybe she will give that to you as well.
Well, you can reach out to me at Fabulocs.com if you're interested in this information. I will send you the form. But Aisha's a good person to know, even if you have a hairstylist, because we've already talked about the amount of education hairstylists get in hair loss. It's very limited. It's good to know a trichologist, and you can turn your stylist onto that trichologist, and they can begin working together. And that might be a topic for a whole nother show, Aisha, just working together as professionals and how we can break those boundaries and walls that are set up, because that doesn't help the customer.
Yeah, well, stylists, we have big egos, and a lot of times we think we know everything because we have our license, but you don't. It's same with doctors. They have to study the rest of their life. Just look at COVID-19. This thing is changing. The strain is changing as fast as we catch up with the one we have. The strain changes. So hair loss is like that as well. So just want to say hi to all my Peoria clients who have jumped on. It's so wonderful. I have great clients here who are learning. I mean, there's nobody here doing what we're doing and educating clients. We give classes. We teach them. I don't need to hide all this. I can't take care of everybody. So we teach them. We have some online classes. Right now it's mostly lock classes, but certainly do. I see someone asked about lock classes. We answer questions about water. Very important. Melanie, yes, I'm a veteran.
Aisha, what is it, Trichologist.com for the classes, or what is the website for the class?
The classes are naturalhairclass.com.
Okay, naturalhairclass.com. Yeah. That's if you want to take some courses on how to do your hair. That's already set up online. You could just take them with her, and you see what a great instructor she is. Highly recommended.
Yeah. So thanks for having me, Nimat. We definitely got to do this again. It's very important. The topic of hair loss is huge and extensive. And, really honestly, if you're experiencing hair loss, you really got to do one-on-one, because you're different than everybody else. Mm-hmm. And so you really got to get with someone who really would just deal with you and your situation, your lifestyle, right? I can tell you to shampoo your hair every day. And if you're not going to do it, then at least be able to come back and say, you know what, I can't do every day, but I could do once a week. Well, can I still give you a protocol to use with that, but you're going to be different than everybody else. Your alopecia, your traction alopecia is going to be different than mine. Your genetic hair loss might be different than mine, or more progressive, right? Or more extensive, or in more areas. So just doing one cookie cutter is not for all of us. No. And if you don't know how to do your hair at home, you should call your Fabulocs stylist right now. Right now, because please don't wait 8-12 weeks when this is over for someone to come in and spend 3 hours detangling your hair, fighting off all kinds of scales and scabies, and stuff like that. It's just not fair. It's not fair to us. And you should know how to do that. Have them ship you products. They will do that as well. And if you're having hair loss, like I said, reach out for just at least a consultation to ask some questions to find out where you can go from there.
Absolutely. So are there any closing remarks you want to give people? We shared a lot of information. This hour and a half went by very, very quickly. Off the top of my head, I can think of is you have to do the internal work just as much as the external work. And it's not really about your hair. It's about your body. If you're healthy, then you will have the best quality hair you can have. You need to be patient. You need a professional that you can work with and talk to. If you love your stylist and they're not well-versed in hair loss, you need to get with someone like Aishah, who's a trichologist, and create a team. So that's what I captured from everything that was said today. I don't know if I missed anything. Right. Okay, well, thank you all so much. And we'll post as much as we can in terms of the links and things in case you guys want to reach out. Have a blessed day. And thank you so much for ordering our products and things.
Thank you. Stay healthy. I'm proud of you, Nimat.
Thank you, big sis.
All right, take care.